Well, hey there, it's Catherine from CatherinePuller.com. Here is a quick peek at our Tropically Yours collection. It is a very fun collection to work with lots of great images, great sentiments, background stamps, borders, the whole 9 yards. This collection is now available in our shop to purchase as individual products. And here's the Cabana tiles dies, which are super popular. And we created a whole nother line of products to coordinate with the Tropically Yours collection. You can see the hex marks the spot stamp set here coordinates with those hexagon dies. And here are some really fun cards made with that stamp set. And then we have this gorgeous pineapple stamp set. It's called Pineapples and Smiles. And in today's video, I'm going to show you a ton of ways to use this these two simple pineapple stamps. But here are two cards from our design team. Cindy Whitlow on the left using some color pencil magic, and Alina on the right with a geometric bold design. So the Pineapple and Smile stamp set comes in a bundle of products. You can also purchase each of these products separately, but if you buy the bundle, you get a little discount. So we have the Cabana Prints patterned paper, all pulling ink colors from our ink collection. You'll also notice that a lot of the images in the patterned paper come straight from our stamp set. So coordination is a snap. All right, so let's get started with these cards. So when I get a new product, I usually just do a slit right at the top of the acetate bag, and then I can slip my product in and out of that bag. And I'm using my little snippers to cut the tabs between the dies, and I'll just set these aside while I start my stamping. So I'm using the pineapple that has the gorgeous flowers on them. I'm totally in love with this pineapple. So I'm doing like a multi-inking situation here. I used a little Tiki torch and I used some Coral Cabana, and I did Tiki torch on one side, Coral Cabana on the other, and then they blend in the middle a little bit and they just look gorgeous. So with this pineapple, I find if I stamp the bottom and then die cut it, and then stamp the top on it, I have a much better result on getting the top of the pineapple lined up on the bottom and in the die cut correctly. Does that make sense? So here we go. Just quick die cutting, running it through my die cut machine, and then I'm ready to stamp the top. So I'm starting with Melon Ice ink, and then I'm going to add a little bit of lime Rickey on there as well, and we'll get a little bit of a tone or two-tone look just like we did on the bottom of the pineapple. And then I will just line that up with my clear block, and it's all stamped and ready to add to a project. So I'm taking the Picket Fence life-changing brushes, and I'm going to do some stenciling. So I have a card layer here. It's 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm going to use our new triangle stencil. It creates really gorgeous backgrounds. So I'm just using a little purple tape to adhere or kind of secure that stencil to the back so it doesn't scoot around while I'm stenciling. And I'm taking kind of a medium-sized blending brush, and I'm grabbing It's a Boy, and I'm just blending that ink color onto the stencil, and I'm concentrating a little bit heavier color in the bottom corner and kind of lightening out to the edges. And I think this makes a great backdrop for the pineapple. I'm going to add a sentiment here. I'm going to use my Misty stamping tool. We do carry these in our shop now, the original size and the mini Misty. If you haven't grabbed one yet, you can hop over there and get yours. And then I'm just using our Midnight ink pad to stamp Sending Smiles. And I think it looks pretty good. I got some black smudged ink on my project. A lot of times I figure out how to cover it up, but I couldn't really figure it out for this one. I guess I could have cut my layer really small, but I didn't want to. And I also felt like the first ink blending with the stencil that I did, I had some green ink left over from another project on my ink blending brush, and so it made the stencil, the blue stenciled part, a little bit different color than I was going for. So I thought, let me just do this again. So there we go. And now I'm pretty happy with how this turned out. I added a little dimensional adhesive to the pineapple to make it pop up off my project. And then I have that little cutie little piece of greenery to add to the pineapple. You can add this to the bottom, or you can add it to the bottom of the top of the pineapple. And I probably have another project here toward the end that'll show that to you, I think. And then to finish it off, I'm just adding some Nouveau drops. So these dream drops are really cool because they look different whether you put them on white cardstock or dark cardstock. So you get different looks depending. Okay, so next up we're going to use the pineapple and we're going to do some embossing. So I want to emboss the bottom and then I want to emboss the top and have them different colors of embossing powder. So the easiest way for me to do this was to create a template. So I die cut the pineapple and used the negative of it, or the pot. I always get confused which is which, but the outside piece, and use that as a template to line up my stamp and then stamp it on the cardstock. I'm using my Wow embossing pad, and if you saw, I have the little new tool that re-inks your pad, which is really nice. And then I'm going to use some Sunset Boulevard embossing glitter to make a gorgeous orange sparkly pineapple. Gorgeous. So I'll just take my heat tool. I'm starting from underneath so that that minimizes blowing off any of the embossing glitter. And I just do it underneath for a minute just to get it going. And then I go from the top and it's all set. So now I'm going to go back to my Misty, line up that mask and do the top. So I'll be using Lime Rickey ink with the Melon Ice embossing glitter. This comes in a trio and you get the glitter, the embossing glitter, and the embossing powder in Melon Ice. And then when I do the layer of Lime Rickey first, it lays down a darker color, so it kind of will change the look of the Melon Ice a little, make it a little darker, but it's going to have some really gorgeous sparkle to it. And you saw I had my embossing glitter all ready to go, so when I stamped the Lime Rickey, our ink stays wet for a few seconds, so you have a little bit of time to throw that embossing glitter on there. And now I have this gorgeous glittery pineapple. So I'm going to line up my die cut and then I'll send it through my die cut machine, and then I'm going to finish up my card. The Pineapple and Smile stamp set has a great graphic piece that is awesome for borders that coordinates with the set. So I'm just going to stamp a few kind of back and forth, zigzagging and nesting in between each other. I'm just using my Midnight ink pad. This will make a great little kind of backdrop for that pineapple. And then I'm actually going to grab the hexagon stamp set, the Hex Marks the Spot. It has some really cute greetings in it that are tiny. And I'm going to do the From You to Me, one on the top and one on the bottom, and that kind of is just a really cute little greeting there. So I ended up messing up that From Me. It was smudgy. So I'm getting creative and I just cut a little banner and stamped that From Me, and then I'm just going to trim that off the top and that'll finish up this card. So for the next card, I've already pre-cut 3 pineapples. So these are cut out of watercolor cardstock because I'm going to use a lot of water on this. And I'm just doing the pineapple top first. And then I have Fiesta Blue, Pixie Dust, and Be Mine. And I'm going to multi-ink that flower pineapple. That is my favorite way right now to use this pineapple, is adding different ink colors and blending them together. And then I'm spritzing it with water and I'm stamping, and it's going to give a really cool watercolored look. If you went on our hops, Deep D did a gorgeous card like this, and that's where I got this idea. So I'm going to do another one because I'm going to add 2 to this card. So same exact technique. And then I'm grabbing our Wild Thing background stamp, which is this really cool wonky polka dot pattern. And it goes great with this collection because it kind of has an animal print look to it. And then I'm grabbing our Stand Tall stamp set with these fantastic flamingos. And I'm using the Hello Gorgeous. This is a hand-lettered sentiment by Lisa Kirkbride. And I'm just stamping it in the bottom corner. And then I'm going to add the pineapples right on top there on the layer, and then add the layer to my Wild Thing background. And I'm all done. Next up, we're going to do some more embossing. So the Wow embossing pad, and here's a closer look at that little freestyle tool. It has a roller ball on it, so you can just roll it on your embossing pad and re-ink it, which is really great. And I like my embossing pads really super juicy. I feel like I get a better embossed image when my ink pad is very juicy. So now I'm using the graphic pineapple, and I have on the left, I have regular cardstock, and on the right, I have watercolor cardstock. So the pineapple on the left with the regular cardstock is having a Lime Rickey top to it, and the one on the right with the watercolor cardstock is having a glitter emboss look. So I'm pouring on the embossing glitter and then I'm just tapping it off, and then I'm going to grab my heat tool. I started from underneath just to start it warming up a little bit, and then I went from the top, and it just takes a minute for that embossing glitter to heat up and melt, and then you end up with this gorgeous glittery pineapple. And then for the regular cardstock pineapple, I'm using white embossing powder. So this image is going to be white and raised, and then I'll be able to do watercoloring over it. So again, just heating it with my heat tool. And with white, you got to kind of look at it from the side a little to see the difference between the powdery look before it's embossed and the shiny white glossy look when it's done being embossed. So the next part of this is my favorite part. I'm using this small round brush from the Picket Fence Life Changing Brushes pack, the big pack, and I'm just grabbing all that jazz. I did the limoncello, and then I'm going to do the Flirty Fuchsia, and I'm just ink blending over the top. So this doesn't look so smashing right now, but just wait. So my goal right now is just laying color. So I'm just focusing on that graphic image, getting color on there. And then I'm grabbing my distress sprayer. It's kind of off camera right now, so you can't really see, but I'm spritzing water right onto that pineapple. It's going to activate the ink, and it's going to start moving around and making a really cool look. I did this on a live stream video recently, and I was pretty smitten with it. It gives a tie-dye look, and it's really super cool, and I think it really goes with the pineapple and kind of fun tropical feel. So I'm just grabbing my heat tool, and the Wow heat tool has two blow settings, basically a low setting and a harder. I don't know the technical terms for this, you guys, but the low setting is great in a situation like this where you just have to dry and not, heat up your embossing powder. So I'm going to put that aside, and I'll add it to a card in a little bit. But before I do that, I'm taking my other pineapple. This is the regular cardstock and white embossing, and I'm using a blender pen. If you haven't seen this, it's like basically it's a clear marker. Just dipping it on top of my ink pad and grabbing color, and then I'm kind of giving a color wash over the entire pineapple. And then I'm going to grab Tiki torch, and I'm going to fill in, and I'm just going to color inside the little graphic pieces, those little triangles, and just give it some dimension and fun. And then again, I'll have another pineapple for another card. So I like die cut pieces like this where I can color and stamp and make a whole bunch of them at once and then have them to adorn my cards. So speaking of adorning cards, here's what I did with the white embossed and colored pineapple. I made a shaker card using some patterned paper and two different sequin mixes. So I used our gold mix. All of the products will be linked below so you can check them out. It's Vegas Baby, and then I used the Miami sequin mix and pulled out some purple sequins. And then just added the welcome. And then the next one, that gorgeous gold glittery tie-dye look one, this is one that I did on a live recently, and then the other one is just really super simple with the sentiment and some Nouveau drops. So you can see a couple different ways to use these. So whether you add it to a shaker card or just add it to a clean and simple card with a greeting, or maybe you do the stencil on the background. And then of course we have the watercolor ones that we have two, and then we have that spotted Wild Thing background. So many ways to use this pineapple, and sometimes when we see stamp sets like this, we don't realize all of the possibilities. But look at all these ideas with just this one stamp set. I hope you guys are inspired. I hope your creative juices are flowing. And look, here's a couple more from our creative team. So you can see some more different ways to use this pineapple. A rainbow pineapple, seriously? Amazing. And another rainbow pineapple. Love these so much. And another rainbow pineapple. And we go on and on and on. So thanks for being here. Give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Subscribe to my channel. Leave me a comment below and let me know which card is your favorite. Have an awesome day.